When World War I erupted in Europe in 1914, it quickly became the deadliest conflict the world had ever seen. Millions of soldiers were locked in muddy trenches, empires were collapsing, and entire nations were mobilized for total war. But across the Atlantic, the United States watched from a distance. While Europe burned, America waited. So the question is, why did the United States not join World War I sooner? And what finally pushed it into the fight in 1917? The answer lies in a mix of tradition, politics, economics, and a series of events that slowly made neutrality impossible. America's long tradition of staying out of European wars. To understand America's hesitation, we need to go back long before World War I. Since its founding, the United States had followed a basic rule: stay out of Europe's conflicts. This idea went all the way back to George Washington, who warned against entangling alliances in his farewell address. Europe, in American eyes, was a continent of endless rivalries, old grudges, and constant wars. By the early 1900s, this belief was still strong. The U.S. had expanded west, fought the Civil War, and even taken overseas territories after the Spanish-American War, but it had never fought a major European war. When World War I broke out in August 1914, President Woodrow Wilson believed America's role was to remain neutral, both in action and in spirit. He famously told Americans they must be neutral in thought as well as in action, a deeply divided American public. Neutrality wasn't just government policy, it reflected public opinion. The United States population in 1914 was incredibly diverse. Millions of Americans were immigrants or children of immigrants from Europe. German Americans, Irish Americans, Italian Americans, and Eastern Europeans all had strong opinions about the war. Many German Americans were opposed to fighting against Germany. Irish Americans hated Britain, which still ruled Ireland. Others felt sympathy for Britain and France, but didn't want to die for them. There was no national consensus. For many Americans, this was Europe's war, not theirs. On top of that, the progressive era was in full swing. Reformers were focused on labor rights, women's suffrage, and regulating big business, not sending young men overseas to fight. The U.S. was neutral, but not completely. Even though America claimed neutrality, reality was more complicated. The U.S. economy became deeply tied to the Allied powers, especially Britain and France. American banks loaned them billions of dollars. U.S. factories sold them food, weapons, and supplies. Trade with Germany, meanwhile, collapsed. Why? Because the British Navy blockaded Germany, stopping ships from reaching its ports. Technically, this violated international law, but the U.S. did little to stop it. From Germany's perspective, America did not look neutral at all, and Germany decided to respond in the most dangerous way possible: submarine warfare and the sinking of the Lusitania. Germany knew it could not defeat Britain's navy head-on. Instead, it turned to a new weapon: the U-boat, the submarine. In 1915, Germany announced it would sink ships heading to Britain, even civilian ones. That decision shocked the world. Then came May 7th, 1915. A German U-boat torpedoed the British passenger liner Lusitania off the coast of Ireland. Nearly 1,200 people died, including 128 Americans. The American public was outraged. Newspapers called it murder. Many demanded war. But Wilson still held back. Germany eventually promised to limit submarine attacks, and Wilson accepted the apology. Once again, America stayed out. Wilson's belief in peace and the 1916 election. Woodrow Wilson genuinely believed he could act as a mediator and help end the war. In 1916, he ran for re-election with the slogan, "He kept us out of war." It worked. Wilson narrowly won, proving that many Americans still wanted peace. But behind the scenes, the situation was unraveling. Germany's gamble: unrestricted submarine warfare. By early 1917, Germany was desperate. The war was dragging on, and the British blockade was starving the country. German leaders made a risky decision. They would restart unrestricted submarine warfare, sinking any ship, neutral or not, that headed toward Britain. They knew this might bring the United States into the war, but they believed they could defeat Britain before American troops arrived. They were wrong. Then came the final spark. In January 1917, British intelligence intercepted a secret message from Germany to Mexico called the Zimmermann Telegram. Germany promised Mexico land taken from the United States, Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico if Mexico joined the war against America. When the telegram was published in United States newspapers, it caused outrage. Now the war was not just overseas, it felt like a direct threat to American security. America enters the war. By April 1917, the choice was clear. German submarines were sinking American ships. American lives were being lost. And Germany had openly encouraged an attack on United States soil. On April 6, 1917, Congress declared war on Germany. Woodrow Wilson told the nation the goal was to make the world safe for democracy. After nearly 3 years of waiting, America had entered World War I, not because it wanted war, but because neutrality had become impossible. Takeaway: America did not stay out of World War I because it was weak or uninterested. It stayed out because of tradition, division, economic calculation, and a deep hope that modern war could be avoided. But in the end, global war has a way of pulling in even those who try to stand apart.